Hey everyone, this is Randy from BibleBuyingGuide.com. Today I'm taking a look at the single column wide margin Bible Handcrafted Edition KJV from Holman. This one is similar to the CSB single column wide margin Handcrafted Edition, except there are a few differences. First difference is this is made in Korea. Second difference is the leather is a little bit different. It is softer and has a little bit of an oddity here in the spine. Has an oversized spine, which at first I thought might be made in order to allow the text to open wider, but you can also see that it's starting to come apart here. I've used this for 3 weeks and it's broken in really well, but it does look like it's coming apart there. And also where the spine is attached, it seems to not be glued well right here at that edge. Kind of hard to see, but I only noticed that when I was looking for it. Other than that, I like the way it stays open really well. Let's get into what it looks like here. All right, so we have a goatskin leather with lots of grain, and you can feel that and see that. It looks really good, feels really good. Perimeter stitching. There's the spine. The spine looks a little bit awkward. Looks like it's oversized, so it doesn't really fit well. It doesn't feel like a good tight binding. But we have 1, 2, 3 spine hub indications with gold stamping. Leather liner, edge lined with gilt line. Sewn binding. 3 satin ribbons, 3/8 inch ribbons, and they're a little stiff. They look like they have been on the roll for a while, and they won't straighten out. But I'm kind of concerned about this. I think that wouldn't last a long time. Dark red art gilt. The paper is 36 GSM, some of my favorite paper. Love this paper, and it stays open really well. Paper is the same as in the CSB, if you've seen that one. And here is our print. This layout is identical to the Pastor's Bible that I reviewed recently. And the difference is this doesn't have the Pastor's material, so the pagination is the same, but the page numbering is different. Another difference is this one has red highlights for book names, chapter numbers, verse numbers, and the material across the top. And across the top we have, in the inner margin, a page summary, page number in the center, and then in the outer margin, book name and chapter numbers. Has a little bit of space between the chapters. 7/8 of an inch on the inside and 1 inch on the outside. So a little bit of space for notes. Not a large space for notes, so if taking notes is the goal, this might not be the one you're looking for. But with this amount of space, it's really good for small notes, and it's really good for people who want to have a little bit of space for notes but don't really want to carry around a large blank space like in numbers. I'm not going to take a lot of notes in numbers. Now, I haven't written in this yet. I don't want to write in it just to be writing in it for testing, but I can tell you this is good paper for notes. It is verse by verse, 14 words per line, line matched, and it looks amazing. You can barely tell. I don't know if the camera is going to pick up more than what you can see in person, but there's not much show through at all. It's just noticeable, and it's not enough to care. It is a red letter edition. There's the red. Red is good and dark. The font is 10.5 point, and it's dark and bold. I like it. I've preached from this for 3 weeks and had no issues preaching from it. Normally, 14 words per line would be a little bit too much for me, but, and there's a little page crinkle, but I typically just follow along with my finger and it's not a problem. One more difference between this one and the Pastor's Bible, which we'll look at in a minute when we compare. This does have red in Revelation. And that is, this one has a list called Where to Turn. And it's things like, when you're blue, when you're tempted to do wrong, physical danger, when you're afraid, lonely, tired, things like that. It gives you a list of scripture. And that's helpful because there are no list of anything in the text itself. It's a text-only edition, no references, no footnotes, anything like that. So that's helpful for that. Concordance, the concordance is a little smaller than the Pastor's Bible. This one is 58 pages in that range, while the Pastor's Bible was 88. So quite a bit smaller. And then back here we have our maps. There are 4 pages for notes. This is the Bible paper. And then the Holman maps, which are on matte finish, which I like a lot. Kind of dull colors, which I like a lot. They look really good. Annotations. It does not include an index. So 3 pounds, 3 ounces. So it's a big boy. 2 inches thick at the spine. And then we have almost 7 by 9 3/4. So let's do some comparisons. First is the Pastor's Bible. And I wanted to show this one because they are the same layout. But there are a couple of differences. The footprint's the same, but there's the difference in thickness. The Pastor's Bible has 30 GSM, but it doesn't feel like 30 GSM. I was surprised it was 30. So here's how they compare, and I'll turn to the same page. Now the page numbering is going to be different, but the pagination, the actual layout is the same. So Isaiah 5. So there's the exact same page on each. So there's how they compare. Same. I think maybe the handcrafted might be a touch darker, but they're both done really well. They're both dark enough, and then both are red letter. Here's how the red letter compares. The handcrafted does look a little better, but the Pastor's Bible looks great too, so either one. And then the difference being that this one has pastor's helps in the middle, and then a slightly larger concordance. Next is the CSB, single column wide margin, handcrafted. Now this one is a better build, a better quality Bible. So here's the sizing, about the same size. Footprint just about the same. The leather on the CSB is a little thicker, feels more sturdy. It's a better spine design, I think. It feels like it fits the Bible, while the KJV feels like it's going to come apart there. I'm kind of concerned about that. But here's how the text compares. The design of the text is about the same, with the main difference being the translation difference, being KJV being verse by verse, while CSB includes the poetic setting and includes the paragraphing. Also, the CSB is a black letter edition. I would like to see a KJV with this layout, simply because the KJV is, in my opinion, the most beautiful poetry, most poetic translation with the least poetic layout. Just my opinion. Here's how they compare. I think the KJV actually might be a little darker. Both are great though. Construction wise though, the CSB does feel a little sturdier. So I want to compare to another KJV wide margin, single column, red letter. And for that I've got the KJV Store note takers. Footprint is similar. The note takers is maybe a little thinner, but not a whole lot thinner. And this is a lambskin compared to the goatskin. Normally I would like the goatskin better than the lambskin because lambskin is really thin. But in this case, the spine feels better on the note takers. And I'm not really thrilled about the paper on the note takers. It's not my favorite. It's good paper, but it's not great paper. I prefer the paper in the Holman. And both are red letter editions, so let's get over here to the red. And you can see the main difference being that the note takers has a 2.5 inch margin on the outside versus the 1 inch on the Holman. Here's how they compare. The red in the Holman looks a lot better, in my opinion, than in the note takers. And then finally, I want to compare to the Schuyler Stratton, and I'll show you why I'm comparing. They are similar in size and similar in design. Both are single column wide margin verse by verse editions. Now the Stratton is made in the Netherlands by Royal Youngblood, so it is in a different price category, and it's also in a different build quality category. The Korean build is good, but it's not up to par with something like these. Actually, the China built Bibles so far have been a little bit better than this one, in my opinion. But here's how they compare. Now this is also a black letter edition. But now this is a reference edition, and it has red highlights, but it also has section headings. But just to get an idea, this is the 28 GSM Endopaque. So here's how they compare. The font in the Holman is slightly larger and slightly darker. There's how they compare. But I just wanted to show the current trend for wide margin editions seems to be going with a little bit of space on the outer margin so that you don't feel like you're carrying around a wide margin Bible so much, but you do have a little room for notes. So there's another edition that's similar. So that's a quick look at the Holman Handcrafted Collection, KJV. I've been looking for this one for a while. I've been really excited about it. I love the block. The text block is amazing. That's my favorite part of the whole thing, this text block. Paper is great. The print is great. The red is excellent. I love that design of the text block. I'm not so thrilled about the cover. I'm concerned about it coming apart here. And I'm also concerned about it coming apart here. That oversize on the spine, it's got a board that feels like it's coming out a little bit higher, a little further than it should, and it seems like it's separating that, but I don't know. Not my favorite cover, but I love the block. So Holman did supply this in exchange for an honest review, and that's my honest review. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll place links in the notes where you can make a purchase if you're interested, and also where you can see the written review at BibleBuyingGuide.com. Thanks for watching.